Howdy, welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be going over this new shop seat that we're actually going to be using here at the shop behind the camera. So the goal of this is to have something here in the shop that's actually used behind the camera. We specifically wanted one that didn't have rollers on it. So this is more like an old-fashioned bar stool. So it's going to be rigid on the floor. Let's go ahead and cut into this and see how quick we can get this one assembled. So this adjustable shop stool with backrest can swivel 360 degrees, and the seat height can go from 29 3/4 inches to 34.5 inches. It has a maximum weight carrying capacity of 275 pounds. And of course the seat bottom and backrest are both cushioned for support and comfort whenever you're sitting in it. You'll also see that this is a high gloss of vinyl material, so it'll make it really easy to clean up if you ever spill anything on it. So for our first step, we're going to end up taking the legs, and then we're going to take our bracket and we're going to take the socket head bolts. Do not take this one that has the bevel on it. You want the one with the flat sides. We're going to take that, we're going to put it up and through this bracket, and you'll see that that socket head fits very nicely down into the bracket. Then we're going to take our legs and we're going to take each one and we're going to put it up and through. Once we get all four of these, we're going to take our connector plate, we're going to put it on top. So the easiest way to get this assembled is to actually go ahead and put all four of your socket head bolts in and then set the entire thing on your table. So now all we have to do is take our four legs and we're going to have to put them in place, and then we're going to take our connector plate, we're going to set it on top. Then you can hold down on the connector plate and take your nuts, and we're just going to loosely put them on since they're nylock. So now that we have these loosely in, you can see they're not very tight, and we're going to take the large ring and we're going to put it into the inside of these. Now whenever we do that, we're going to be using these flat head screws that are number 2 Phillips, and we're going to slide the larger ring here on the inside, and we're just going to take our first bolt here, slide it through, and then we're going to take our nylock nut. We're going to just get it started. We do not want to have anything tightened down until we have everything in place.
Don't forget it!
So whenever we put the smaller ring on, we actually need to flip it back around. Now we're going to take the smaller ring and slide it around the outside of our legs, and we're going to repeat the same procedure with the same types of bolts and nuts. You'll want to make sure that your bolts are coming from the outside in all locations. That way your nuts are on the inside of the assembly. This will make sure that you don't snag any clothing on them or hurt your legs, etc. Make sure that everything is loose on you. One of the big things with this is there are big slots at the top that will actually allow your legs to slide in and out. And before you start tightening, you're going to want to make sure you're on a level surface. If you're not on a level surface, then there's no chance this thing is going to sit level. So make sure that it sits good, that you're happy with how that it is, and that everything can move freely in and out at the top. Now I would not recommend tightening the top first. I would actually recommend starting at the bottom and working your way up, because as you go through, you're actually going to end up pulling these legs out to meet the ring on the outside. So let's go ahead and start on the bottom. And to do this, all we're gonna need is a 10mm socket. I'm just gonna be using this nice Ryobi 4-volt USB lithium 3/8 inch ratchet. We're gonna need a number 2 Phillips for the bolts on the outside. For the socket heads, we're going to need a 5mm Allen wrench. So let's go ahead and get started. So now that we're done with that, we can actually tighten our top bolts. Once we get done with the top bolts, we'll then go through and tighten everything down. Now the instructions will actually tell you that you're not supposed to tighten everything down until you get the seat on top of here. If you find that once you have it assembled, it's too wiggly and wobbly and doesn't sit right, you can actually have somebody sit on top of it. You can loosen these up and retighten them in order to have the pressure on it. Usually the seat itself isn't enough, and I find it a lot easier to set up my seats in this fashion. But next we're going to put the piston in. Okay, whenever we put our piston in, the black part goes to the bottom and the actual piston is going to be facing up. And it's extremely simple. We just take our piston and slide it down into it, and you can twist and pull down if you want to make sure it's nice and seated in there. Now we're going to grab our seat and we're simply going to put it on top. Now you'll see that there's a receiver on the top. Well, this is simply held in with pressure because our piston itself has a bevel on it, and as it squeezes tighter into this hole, it will grasp onto the hole and not let go.
That's what she said.
We simply set it on top and work it around a little bit and put some pressure on it. Now, the other thing you will have seen whenever I showed the bottom of the seat is we have 2 bolts with these knobs on it. So we're going to release those. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the back of our seat and we're going to put it on there. Before we do that, we're going to take and depress our little nub and slide it up in here and get it all the way in and lock it through. We're gonna do that on both sides. Now that gets our back ready, and it's gonna be real simple to put this into the seat, and we're just simply going to take the backrest, slide it into one, and then slide it into the other. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and slide it all the way in, and then we're gonna take our bolts with the knobs on the end and tighten it up. And there we go. It's that quick and that simple to assemble this unit. Let's go ahead and put this on the ground and let's give it a test. Dang it. So the stool sits really good. I'm liking it. I can spin 360 degrees around, no problem at all.
Barely an inconvenience.
If I don't like how tall it is, simply pull on the lever and that allows me to drop. Because I have 2 different sections for my feet, people who have shorter legs won't have an issue. They can go with the upper one, or people with longer legs can either go for the lower rung or even go onto the floor depending on how tall they are. So it's really nice. It's very comfortable. The other nice thing about this seat is if you don't like something with the backrest on it, you can actually completely remove the backrest and set it aside. You don't have to use it with the backrest. And some people might find that they don't like it way up close, but they don't mind it further back. Well, that's what we have the knobs for, so we can adjust it and push it further back. I do like how stable it is. It's very nice. I can do my little dance and I don't feel like I'm gonna fall over. Now I will say that if you're somebody who has to crawl up on a stool and you try to put your weight on the bottom rung, there is a chance that it's going to tip over. So you're gonna wanna make sure, just like with all bar stools, that you're going to have a hold of it so it doesn't tip on you whenever you do that. So that's the unboxing and assembly of this unit. And from this point, it's actually gonna be mainly behind the camera. You won't see it on camera too very often from us, but as we use it, we will definitely be sure to come back and do a review on it to let you know how it is servicing us, whether if it's good or bad. We will let you know how we're enjoying it here in the shop. If you have any questions about this stool, any of the tools behind me, or any of the other videos that I put out, please be sure to leave it in the comments below. I love talking with all of you all, and there's been some really great comments lately, especially a great comment like this one. It's filling the entire screen. It's so much. So thank you very much for leaving those comments. I appreciate the discussion, and I know the manufacturers do as well. Thanks for watching.